Good evening, everyone. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime with a cold case update. Um, I wasn't going to go live tonight, but this case got sent to me like 5 or 6 different people, so I thought I can go into this briefly. So this is not going to be a very long live. So we're going to talk about the disappearance and the solving of Michelle Lynn Hundley Smith's missing person case. So that would be this right here. Check out the glamour shots. Yeah. So Michelle Lynn Hundley Smith was 38 years old when she went missing on December 9th, 2001. Now, close to Christmas, she told her husband and her 3 children that she was going shopping for Christmas in nearby Martinsville, Virginia. Now, she lived in Rockingham County, the Stoneville area, or Eden, North Carolina, which I've been to. It's very small, but it's very close to the Virginia border. Well, anyway, she went there, left in her green 1995 Pontiac Transport minivan with North Carolina vanity plate, ROC, ROKN on. Yeah, can't miss that. Never returned home, made no purchases that could be traced, and has not been seen or heard of from since. And the van was never recovered. So at the time, she was a white female, approximately 5'6" to 5'7", 130, 140 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, and may have used the last name Hundley, her maiden name, in some contexts. So here's what's going on. This woman has been missing since 2001. No one's heard from her. I mean, this has been covered on Dateline under cold cases. Her family created a Facebook page about her disappearance. All kinds of conspiracy theories: who could have killed her, where is she, what happened, blah, 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 blah. So we just found out she is alive and she has been found. Crazy, right? 24 years. This would have been like the 25th year if it got into December. She was found. And she's not in danger. And she's not hiding out from anybody. But she did tell the police that she did not want her family to know where she is. Crazy, right? And I couldn't figure out what was going on with that, because you left 3 kids, and at the time your kids were young. One was 19, one was 14, and the other one was 9. The 19-year-old had just left home and was living on their own. So it's heartbreaking, And what little I was able to glean from what's out on the internet, she's a devoted mother, always met her kids at the bus stop, that kind of cookies and milk and all that stuff. But they did say her marriage was very tumultuous, very physical, and she did struggle with alcohol abuse. Now, if it was an abusive marriage, let's just say the husband was putting hands on her, I could understand her getting out of Dodge, for fear of him. But I can't find anything stating that was why she left. And after all this time, you're found. Why can't you be in touch with your children? You don't want to see that husband, fine, but be in touch with your children. And the husband wasn't too tore up about it, because I think the police even suspected him for a minute, if she was dead, that maybe he did it, because he said that she had left a goodbye note, and then he denied having the goodbye note. And he eventually moved on and remarried and still stayed in the same house. So he went on with his life. But it's a very bizarre case, because I sat here all evening, thinking about, why would someone not, disappear like that? And why would they not, when they're found, want their children to see where, to be in contact with them? And I had to think about that, because, if it's fear, it's one thing, but I don't think it's fear. And the fact that she abused alcohol really tells me a lot, because alcoholics tend to be very self-centered, selfish people. And to me, it sounds like she just wanted a different life and she just took off because she was a selfish individual. I know it's kind of harsh, but why would you ever leave your children out there thinking you're dead? That's that's just so bad and so wrong on so many levels. Why would you do that? So, Mother of the Year, she definitely is not. And I don't know how her kids are feeling about this. Mom's been alive all this time. I mean, it's been almost 25 years. These people have probably her kids have probably gotten married, had children of their own, divorced, whatever. They've lived lives since she's been missing. And now here's mom. She's not back, but she's back. We now she knows she's alive, but she doesn't want to see us. It's very weird to process. And like I said, and if I was one of her kids, I'm not sure how I would take that. But if you read everything online that has been said about her, about this case with her missing, people just went on and on about how wonderful she was, except for the alcohol abuse issue, which translates she was probably a raging drunk, mean as hell behind closed doors, and maybe did her family a favor by leaving. I don't know. I do not know. But like I said, I feel for her kids. I really do. Because, their Facebook posts were very glowing about her, how much they missed her and everything else. And what else are you going to say about somebody that's your parent that disappears? I hated them. I hope they never get found. Maybe some people will be bold enough to do that. I don't know. But I mean, it's been covered. Like she had a file. She had a file on the Charlie Project. Networks have covered this. I mean, podcasts covered this. The Vanished. I mean, it's been covered. People have been talking about this case for a very long time, better part of 2 decades, and she's somewhere in North Carolina living her life. Crazy. It's just absolutely freaking crazy. Like I said, this is a very selfish individual, in my opinion. I mean, glad the woman's not dead, but I can't imagine walking away from your kids like that. Because I mean, even in my worst times with my marriage, I had considered running away, but the only reason I didn't is because my children I still have my kids. There's no way in hell I'd leave them alone with him like that. So, like I said, I don't understand. Like I said, that tells me, in my opinion, and I don't know if this is fact or not, but this is just me extrapolating here. She's a selfish individual. Yeah. Very selfish individual. And I would love for the fact if law enforcement would put charges on her for, I don't know. Actually, she didn't legally, she can leave whenever she wants, so it's just the fact that she's wasted a lot of resources of detectives and cold case detectives when this stuff could have been put on other cases. People looking for her, and she knew they were looking for her. That's my thing. They knew they were. She could have sent a letter to one of her kids and said, "Hey, I'm alive, but I can't. I don't want to be around you guys." She could have done. There's something else she could have done instead of leaving the world to wonder whether or not she's alive or dead. I mean, there are other things she could have done. But yeah, that is her, Michelle Lynn Hundley Smith. She is alive. We can now close the file on her. She is alive, but does not want to be contacted. And that happens sometimes. We had a case, woman who I think she left Ohio and came all the way down here to North Carolina. And her family had put out a missing person report. And when she was cutting through like Pennsylvania for whatever reason, she got pulled over. And the cops saw the missing person report and they talked to her and they said, hey, your family put this out on you. She's like, I'm not missing. I just don't want to talk to them, and they let her go. And those cops caught hell for letting her go, but by the family, but they're like, look, she was in her right mind, wasn't in distress. We informed her of the missing person case and she didn't want to talk to you. That's her right. And I forget the name of that woman, but that was one of those. I mean, it made it down here. People were talking, oh God, where is she? She's fine. She just didn't want to be around her family. Or that was that one girl that got on a plane. We went to the airport and went missing and ended up in Mexico, and her father committed suicide because they couldn't find her. They thought she was being trafficked or some stuff like that. And she came back. And there's really never been an explanation as to why she did what she did. Because she was missing for like 2 weeks. It was crazy. But you have people who don't want to be around their loved ones and are like, I'm done. Cutting bait, I'm out. And they just go. They just go. And nobody knows what happened. And then, of course, your fears, your worst fears come to you like, oh God, what if they're dead? What if they're on a container ship somewhere, going to be sold into white slavery or, something. You think the worst case scenarios in these situations. And fortunately for this woman, that none of that happened. She's alive, she's well, and just doesn't want to be contacted. So there you have it. But I'm going to hop off here. This was just a brief one because, like I said, I wasn't going to come on tonight, but here you go. Michelle Lynn Hundley Smith, alive and well and selfish. Good night, everybody. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime. I'm going to hop off here. But as I always say, be weird, be rude, be safe. And if you ever do a disappearing act on your family and you want to be contacted, send them a note somewhere, somehow. Just do that. That's the cool thing to do. Just saying. Especially if you have kids. So, good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff if you want to get more updates. But this was a very brief one. And it's, Anyway, good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.